Before we start the episode, I would love your help to make this podcast better. Would you please consider taking our short listener survey so we can learn more about why you listen and how we can improve your podcast experience? Just click on the link in the show notes. As a thank you, the first 15 responses will receive a $25 gift card to the How I Got Here food guest of their choice. Now on to the show.
The people he was talking to that wanted to buy it were what we don't want, what we've just been talking about. We don't want here, another out of town corporate owner. Mm-hmm. And I could see the writing on the wall. Like if this comes in, I care a lot about the station, Greg Tish, Jeff Cameron, all the people that we've put on, everything that we've created over the years, I've poured myself into, would all be gone. I just had that gut feeling. And I was probably right, knowing what they've done to the other stations that they purchased. So I had to step up. Like if I'm going to keep my job and keep the things we love and help my friends and everything that we care about, I got to figure this out.
From Fiore Communications, it's How I Got Here, a show highlighting the unexpected journeys of some of Tallahassee's most interesting people. Everybody has a story worth telling, and I'm grateful we get to share a few of them with you. I'm Dave Fiore, and in this episode, I speak with Jon Jopling, owner of Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's only locally owned FM radio station. Jon has had a lot of different jobs: jazz musician, instrument repair tech, wedding band owner, and radio salesman. None of them were part of a plan, and somehow they all connect. Jon grew up in Miami, met his future wife and band at age 14, and earned a jazz performance degree at FSU. He spent years building an entertainment company before a chance conversation with a wedding client opened up an unexpected door into radio sales. A few years later, he was running the station. A few years after that, he bought it. In between, he and his wife Jessica navigated her cancer diagnosis early in their marriage, years of IVF, and his own cancer scare at 37. Life kept interrupting, and they kept going. Jon and I talk about music, marriage, what local radio is actually for, and how you end up buying a business you never set out to own. We started our conversation talking about growing up in South Florida.
Oh, it was tremendous. Probably nothing like it is now down in Miami.
What part of Miami were you in?
We're in Kendall, South Miami area. Grew up like a 90s kid, playing in the neighborhood with the neighborhood kids, riding my bike, skateboarding, sports, basketballs, and scouts, a lot of camping, a lot of outdoor stuff. Despite what people believe when you say you're from Miami.
That doesn't sound very Miami.
Yeah, exactly right. There wasn't a lot of beach life when I grew up. We're in the suburbs. It's just a regular, classic little life. We didn't do a whole lot of touristy stuff. That's not how it was when we grew up there.
Yeah.
House I grew up in was across the street from my elementary school. Walk to school, walk back. I remember that. Hurricanes were a thing, so I was there for Hurricane Andrew. That was a pretty wild experience for sure. And one of the most vivid memories I have of being so young at that age. I think I was in third grade around that time. And
so
I remember
South Miami, it was you got hit some.
Oh, right? Yeah, very much so. We lived in a motorhome outside of in our front yard for, 8 to 12 months or something like that afterwards. Took the whole house down. We were right on the, near Homestead, which was where the eye wall really came through hardcore. And it was an intense experience.
Yeah. So what do you remember? I mean, as a kid, what do you remember about what you were feeling and being scared and the aftermath and walking around and seeing everything you knew just destroyed?
Yeah. I mean, at that age, it's hard to really take all that in. It's just kind of like a wow, that was, I remember the sound. I remember stuff flying through the windows and, people weren't prepared for that storm, which I think changed a whole lot of coding and building codes and all kinds of regulations after that storm came through. But I have memories of like my older brothers holding boards up the windows in the middle of the storm as it was rushing through. And we had avocado trees and coconut trees nearby. Stuff would fly through a window. And I kind of have memories of that, the sound, the roaring sound. And then afterwards getting up and walking outside and just complete, like everything's gone. It was crazy. It was pretty wild.
Yeah. So what are your memories about how the family handled that? Like, how did you, what did you all do and say? Do your parents say, okay, this is what we're going to do? Or,
I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
5 of us, and then we brought in other family members and in-laws to our house because we thought that this is, at least how I remember it, where they lived was further north, and they were elderly and smaller houses, and we expected them to get hit worse. So they came and stayed at our house.
During the storm?
During the storm, we stayed in our house with them, but it turned out we were in the bad zone and they weren't. But no, it was, I can't imagine how they handled that kind of stress. I think about that. Like, we've been through a few hurricanes here with just my small little family, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
So to have 5 kids and all with no home afterwards, and we thought it was cool. Got to camp in a mobile home in an RV, which is pretty neat.
Kind of an adventure,
as a kid,
right?
Yeah, as an adventure for sure.
Yeah.
But then we remodeled the house, and I remember we got a pool afterwards, and that was cool too.
Yeah. So you have 4 siblings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What was that? Where do you fall in the line? And
I'm
brothers,
second
sisters?
to youngest.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have one younger brother who lives here in Tallahassee as well. My older sister lives here. Then I have a brother in Atlanta and a brother in Portland, Oregon.
Did you like school? Were you a good student?
Oh,
Did you
no.
enjoy that? So those are 2 different things. Did you like school, and were you a good student?
I liked, so I was in band. My older brothers and everybody, we were all band students, all musicians. I thrived in band and that atmosphere, and I was good at it. And I went on to take that a bit further in college, and I'm sure we can get into that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the best student. I think I was a bored student, and I was perhaps bullied in elementary school and became a little bit of an older bully in high school. According to my wife, if you ask her, I was mean to her. No, it's a joke.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the friendships I made, and I still have some of those to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So you talked about being in band and starting to enjoy music. When did that, because I was a band kid. My wife wasn't. I mean, I understand the mindset and the culture of that. And it can kind of be a huge part of your life and kind of the center of
takes over everything
of your high school experience.
Yes,
so was that the case for you? And what direction did that take?
Yeah, it was, like you said, it's everything. It becomes your friend circles, becomes your social circles, it becomes your after school everything, marching band, football games, the whole 9 yards. I was a trumpet player. Loved playing the trumpet. Actually, I wanted to play drums, but my parents did not let me play the drums. So
probably smart.
I played trumpet instead. My older brother was a trumpet player too. So I fell to it very naturally. Didn't have to work too hard to be good at it. So I enjoyed it very, very much. And in high school is where I met my current wife, and when we were 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the band?
So and most of my friends that I still have today were all in band.
Did she play flute or clarinet?
So my wife is very small. She's like 5'4", tiny little woman, and she marched with the sousaphone.
Really?
Yeah, of all things. Yeah, she's it was,
props to her. That's,
incredible.
Yeah,
it was, and she has a twin sister who played the baritone.
Okay,
so they didn't play the flute or the clarinet.
Typical,
they went to the big brass ones.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's fun.
Yep. Part of your music experience was you got involved in jazz band. Right?
Yeah.
Which is a whole, for people who don't know, there's the marching band, concert band, and then the jazz band is this special little thing off to the side.
It can be.
Yeah, where you play, more contemporary, fun, different kind of music. So when did you get involved in that, and where did that fit into your musical experience?
So I attended Florida State University for music, started out as a classical trumpet major.
Okay.
And found more friendships and more of the mindset of music that I enjoyed through the jazz department, which I hadn't considered before. So after my first or second year, I think it was after my first 2 semesters, I transferred my major.
So in high school, you were in the jazz band, but
I was in jazz band, classical
it wasn't
band.
your passion necessarily.
Well, I didn't realize it at the time, probably.
Okay.
I just liked playing. And I could play, classical music, or the jazz band was fun too. But it wasn't a big jazz school, so it wasn't like a big thing to me.
Right.
But I met more people in the music program at Florida State through different social interactions that led me to gravitate more towards the jazz program. I listened to the music. I loved the music. I didn't listen to a lot of orchestra. I realized, when I'm laying in bed at night, I listen to jazz.
Right.
Why aren't I trying to do this more? And I'm good at that too. So then that's kind of morphed me that direction. Then completed my undergrad and jazz performance I was a lead trumpet at FSU for a while, and
I mean, that's a big deal. I know the program. I know how competitive it is. I know the kind of musicians that are there. And to achieve that, you must have been pretty darn good.
I think I was pretty good at that point in my life. Is what I loved, is what I was going to do. I was also working at the music store at the same time, repairing musical instruments. So, of course, like, music is everything in my life. Band, instruments, program, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Then after I completed my undergrad, I was just a couple of years off, I think. Graduated in 2007, and then 2009, I went back for my master's degree. Actually, the school asked me if I'd like to come back because I was still here and I was still, attending the concerts and gigging around town. So they were like, "Hey, what do you think about coming back? And we could use somebody like you in a program." So I did.
That's great.
Yeah.
So when you're saying gigging around town, what kind of groups were you playing, or what kind of events? Was there little jazz ensembles or a big thing, or what?
Actually, most of the gigging I did, and I can get into that as well, was, like bar bands, stuff like that. Some jazz gigs every now and then, of course.
So it'd be like a horn section or a single trumpet playing popular music that had that.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
part of it.
Yeah. I ended up getting connected with a wedding band when I was I think I was still in my undergrad, or shortly right after that. I ended up getting connected with a wedding band that needed a trumpet player. They were gigging quite a bit, so I joined them, and we did a ton of gigs, ton of shows. And then that band leader was, shutting the door on that chapter, and I was like, wait a second, this is a really good band. I want to keep this going.
Yeah.
So I purchased the band from him.
Oh, wow.
For a couple $1,000s for whatever the gigs were that were on the calendar, and
kept the name and everything.
Yeah,
that's
and I
awesome.
bought the band, and we took it several steps further along and turned it into my first business, an entertainment company, because we were so busy that I was turning down work. I was turning down gigs.
Wow.
And I didn't like that feeling. It's like, well, what can I make the most of this? So I was like, well, I know a lot of musicians. I know a lot of bands. If my band is booked, I can give another group of people I know my set list and my name and send them to go play gigs. So we had, at its peak, my band was doing maybe 150 shows a year. Weddings, mostly weddings, private events, conferences, that kind of thing.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And I would have, 3 or 4 different groups in a week in various places. And then that turned into also providing videography services, photography services, booking string players, anything you can think of for an event, music and entertainment wise. It was almost like a little booking agency.
So that was E3 Entertainment?
E3 Entertainment, yeah.
Okay.
Elite Events and Entertainment, I called it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Kind of the whole business model developed out of needs for the clients you were already serving.
Yeah, they would ask me, can I do that? Can I do this? I have a hard time saying no. So yeah, I could do that. And then I'll figure it out.
Did you enjoy the entrepreneurial part of it and putting the business together?
I did very much so. And that was my first light bulb moment, right? Not a lot of musicians are terrible business people. Right. They don't have that mindset. They
right brain, left brain.
Sure. Yeah. And I've somehow found myself with the natural mindset that I could sell this. I can book this. I can create this. I can run that, and created my first LLC with the help of my father-in-law who was a business owner too. And he was like, this is what you got to do. This is how you start. And I learned a lot about business from him and accounting and all kinds of stuff. I was self-taught. As you know, I did not go to school for business.
Right.
But the concepts of how to operate, especially that was a very small business. It was just basically common sense for me. Right. And it worked out pretty well. And then all those years on the road, a lot of travel, and I was in radio. Then I morphed into radio while doing the gigging in sales.
Right.
And then you get older and priorities change, and all those hours and long weekends on the road are brutal. Yeah. And I wanted to sort of step away from that. So I sold the business and the band to somebody else in the band, and then dived fully into radio sales and started just having my weekends back and my holidays back to spend with my family.
More like a normal person.
More like a normal person, yeah.
Does any form of that business still exist today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're still playing. They're still doing their thing. Not quite as busy as they once were, but the band is called the Blues Factor Band, and they're still out there just playing as themselves.
All right. Well, this is random, but did you ever play with a guy named Mike McKenzie?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Yeah. We were in Chiefs together.
Yeah.
So,
I know Mike very well.
Yeah. So I know he's the only local gigging trumpet guy I know. So.
Yeah, that's funny. No, he's a tremendous trumpet player.
Yeah, he's great.
And he would fill in for me oftentimes too. And we'd play musicals together at FSU, and I know him quite well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in years, but
he's still playing.
He was a great guy, or is a great guy.
Yeah, he is. He's still playing. In fact, I think about a month ago, he was playing with my old band.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. All right, so you talked about the shift in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
When you started, I didn't realize it was at the same time while you were still doing E3, you started looking at doing radio.
Yeah.
So how did that become an opportunity, and why were you interested in that?
I wasn't. I don't think I was. It was never on my radar. Radio sales, talk radio sales. Was never on my mindset. I was working at the music store. I'd been there for 12 or 13 years, and I was running the band and the gigging, and I think I was just hungry for something different. And I had tried to pursue different avenues of different career choices. I auditioned for the Navy, and I made it to the final round of the Navy Premier Band auditions.
Oh, wow.
But that didn't work out. So that was one thing I thought I was going to do, and that didn't happen.
So you don't have to be in the Navy to do that?
No, you would have had to join the Navy.
Okay.
Yep. So I submitted my audition tapes, and I was invited and made it through the several rounds and went to Washington, D.C. for the final.
Oh, wow.
Was like the final 8 people to audition, and didn't make the cut. It was for the Navy Cruisers Band, which is they play at like presidential balls and events and stuff like that. And they tour, the country as support for the Navy. So it didn't make the cut there. I tried to pursued possible job in financial planning. There was a friend who got me an interview with this company. It was in Jacksonville. Like we were moving. My wife and I were, where are we going to end up? It wasn't going to be Tallahassee.
So you didn't think you would stay here?
No, we did not. We tried to get out of here.
Why is that?
I don't know. We were younger, and this town seemed too sleepy. Yeah, maybe that was it. But like everybody says, the joke, Tallahassee will trap you, and it did. So I thought I was going to be graduated for my degree in music, maybe get a teaching job at a university. That was on my mind too. Yeah, I could do that. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to start in a smaller town than Tallahassee, which is where you'd have to start.
Right.
I didn't have a bank of albums or discography as a musician, so I didn't really qualify to jump that step in the teaching world, in the collegiate teaching world, is where I didn't want to teach middle school or high school. If I did, I would have been in the college level.
Right.
So that didn't pan out. The Navy didn't pan out. The financial thing didn't plan out. And it's all kind of loops into when my wife was diagnosed with cancer. It was about 8 months after we got married. And right before then, I was running my business, and we were pretty much dead set on moving to Jacksonville. I could run my business from Jacksonville. A lot of my musician friends were in Jacksonville. We had friends, we had connections in Jacksonville. I was like, all right, let's go give this a shot. Mm-hmm. And then just weeks before we had planned on doing this, my wife was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Mm-hmm. And it was just gut-wrenching. We were young. It was terrifying. It was very, very aggressive. The doctors moved very, very quickly. And at that point, she literally had to make the phone call to a job she was going to accept, say, I can't come. Mm-hmm. So we stayed here for her doctors, her treatment, or everything. And that experience, the outpour of support that we had, really made us realize this was our home. Mm-hmm. And this is where we need to be. So we just stopped trying to leave, said this is the final sign. We're going to plant our roots here now, and got through that treatment, got through that experience, and it's been the best decision I think we ever made, was to stay here.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how circumstances, especially something so dramatic, can change the whole trajectory of your whole life here.
And all the things before that prevented it from changing. You don't realize it at the time how significant an event is going to impact you.
Right. But you got through everything okay?
Yep.
And
it was good. Brutal. Her chemotherapy was very aggressive. It was very hard. And we joke now, not joke, but literally at an early stage in our marriage, every single one of our vows were tested, and sickness and health, and rich or poor. We had no money. We were sick. We had, we were roughing it.
So you knew you really loved each other.
Yeah. We absolutely, there's no doubt there.
Yeah.
So, she was an absolute champion through that, and inspiring to watch.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. So you have an opportunity to enter radio, right, and sell.
Yeah. So that's where the two careers actually merged.
Right.
My entertainment company did weddings and events, and a guy the previous manager of this radio station in Tallahassee, Barry Kay,
Mhm.
he hired my company to do all the entertainment for his daughter's wedding. And we got to know each other through that process. And he told me he's in radio. He runs a radio station. He could use some help in sales. And he thought I was a good salesman because I got him to buy my buy my stuff.
Yeah.
And so I took a big leap. It was a difficult decision to make. It was such a hard turn from any trajectory I thought I was going to be in.
Yeah.
Took a lot of thought, and I was scared. It was a huge pay cut to get out of the music store where I was doing quite well. And I've been doing that for 13 years.
Were you at Music Masters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down in the basement.
Down in the
repairing
basement where they
instruments.
did the repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got really good at that, and I really enjoyed that work. That was very good, satisfying manual work for me. You get to see the final product. You get to
Take something broken and give it back
fix it.
fixed.
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But I think that had run its course for me. I think okay, I don't think I want to do this forever.
Right.
So I took the chance. He offered me a job in sales, and I had no experience whatsoever. That was in December 2015. I left the music store and went into radio. I was still running the entertainment company at the same time.
Mhm.
But eventually, once the radio income started to outweigh the band income, you start, okay, well, I'm going to move this way. And that's when I eventually got rid of the music, the band and the gigging, and straight up into radio advertising sales here in 93.3.
Did it take some time for you to warm up to that, or did you instantly like the sales part of the job?
I think it came naturally to me because I'd already been doing sales in the form of booking my own, and selling my other company and selling my services. This was just learning something else to sell, learning the lingo, and actually being taught by BK how to sell. He was an important influence and mentor of mine in those early stages of me learning how to actually do this marketing and advertising sales thing.
And he's very relational, very personable,
Yes.
likable, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and we got along so well. We had a blast. I mean, so many laughs working with him, so many good memories working with him. And he gave me the route, an unexpected route to end up on a long road to where I am now. And we're still close friends. He's still in the radio, and we talk regularly.
Yeah. So you kind of worked your way up the ladder, right?
Mhm.
Being your sales manager.
Yeah, I was just a regular salesperson when I first started. Then eventually I threw my hat in the ring and said, hey, let me try to be a sales manager, and succeeded there. And eventually BK left the radio station to go pursue another opportunity. And the owner of the group, Mr. Don McCoy, who owns radio stations in Panama City Beach and in Tallahassee, had no business giving me the station manager position. I didn't have the qualifications to do it,
Right.
but I said, let me do it. And here's what I'm going to tell you I'm going to do and how I'm going to accomplish it. And he said, you know what? I'll give you a shot. And it took off from there.
Yeah. So it was Magic Broadcasting.
Magic Broadcasting.
Right. So for those who don't know, talk about, I guess at the time that you're the station manager, talk about what Magic Broadcasting was at that time.
Magic Broadcasting it's a mom and pop radio group with 4 radio stations in Panama City and 1 radio station here in Tallahassee. I had no participation in the Panama City operations. I was just a manager here, a station manager, as we called it. So I didn't do any of the business side of things. I didn't do any of the operational stuff of the entire group because everything was sort of merged together, except for our programming and sales here is pretty much what I ran at that point in time.
Okay.
And made some changes to the station, changed the branding, changed the lineup, did some things like that that I just did instinctually.
Like what did you see that you wanted to change and made changes like that at the beginning?
When I first started with the station, it was called Freedom 93.3. It was a pretty aggressive political right radio station. And as a salesperson that doesn't come from politics, I'm a jazz musician. It just wasn't my world at all. I found it to be somewhat difficult to sell that in this town because some of the businesses didn't want to
align themselves.
Appear like they're going to alienate a certain demographic of their customers.
Sure.
So it was harder to sell. You needed people to buy advertising on the station because they truly supported that messaging. So I wanted to lighten that up a little bit, make it a little bit easier on the palate when I had the opportunity to do so. So we got rid of the super patriotic side of things with the freedom and all that. I changed it to just real talk. And we ended up putting some different personalities on the air and changing some lineup. And over the course of many, many years now, that has morphed into what it is, which is almost 50 hours of locally created content every week on the station, and almost none of that is political.
Right.
So it's just become a long journey to get to the shape that it's in now.
And we'll be right back. How I Got Here is sponsored by Barano Heating and Air Conditioning in Tallahassee. I've been friends with Patrick Barano since we met in a chamber leads group about 15 years ago. I'll admit that I pursued him pretty hard to be his marketing firm and eventually won him over. And the reason I wanted to work with him is that I was already a customer, and I knew what kind of company he and his father before him had built. He cares about his customers, he cares about his team, and he cares about this community. I've experienced Barano Heating and Air when they installed a complete system replacement a few years ago, and I enjoy peace of mind and same-day service with my Total Comfort Service Agreement. I've also been behind the scenes at their office and seen firsthand the true character of this company. And that's why we're so proud to represent them. To learn more or to schedule an appointment online anytime, visit baranoac.com. They really always will be there for you. And now back to the show. Why is it important for a local radio station to focus on local content, conversations that are unique to our area as opposed to being fed from someplace else?
Well, I think you can get all the other information everywhere. You're just bombarded by it at every point in turn. You turn on the TV, there's your national news. You turn on most other news stations, there's your national news. Your phone, you're scrolling your national news. So in order for us to differentiate ourselves and give somebody, I call them mousetraps, why are people going to want to listen to our station? Because it's something they can't get somewhere else. So I tried to just implement that. That's like my guiding rule was I want to put something on the air that they can't find somewhere else. So they have to listen to it here, and let's make sure it's good.
Right.
Yeah. We're in the entertainment business first and foremost, so we had to be entertaining. And like I said, as somebody who didn't consume personally in my majority of my life any news talk stuff, I found that not to be as entertaining as something that was more relatable just to normal people with families and kids and just living a normal life. Didn't want to wake people up with anger every day. Yeah. The news is hard.
Yeah.
And that exhausted me, I think. So it was more of that direction. Just wanted to provide something different that they couldn't find elsewhere.
Yeah. So how were those changes received?
Very well. I think so. The reputation has grown tremendously over many, many years. And I think that gets us to the whole being local. I have a belief that radio was intended in its conception to serve their communities. That's really what it was for. And along the way, big corporate entities, the iHearts, Cumulus, whatever, as they started buying everything up, that sense of purpose was lost. And it became money-driven instead of community-driven. And how can we cut things and make it more lean and more efficient? That's why you see programming across the country is the same.
Right. National DJs.
Right. Even down to their Facebook pages. You can go search. There's, find that local rock station owned by iHeart and find 24 other Facebook pages across the country of the same posts at the same time of the same stories. There's no care given to what matters to that community that station exists in. So it's hard to watch, and it's hard for the industry. It's hard for people that have grown up, come up in radio with the passion for it. See, I've only been in radio 10 years, but once you get in it, you care a lot about it, and it's hard to get out of, and it's hard to see and watch friends that have mentors of mine, people I've grown to know and learn a lot from, end up getting cut because of that mentality of the bigger companies that just say, hey, we're just going to cut them loose. Right. And then there's empty buildings.
Yeah.
And my office is the complete opposite of that. It's a constant revolving door of people coming in and out of. We're live. We're on the air. It still has that magic of radio. Most everything's going to be pre-recorded and not local and not live. Right. So we'll do the complete opposite.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you not only have local people, but you have certain big personalities that are well known and people know and like and listen to regularly. How important was that to the mix to have some of those centerpieces, I guess, like the Jeff Camerons, Greg Tish, those people?
It's tremendously important. It gives us credibility. It has helped us along the way of get away from that. You're the angry right-leaning radio station. That's not our identity. And so it's taken a long time to try to adjust that perception of the station with guys like Greg Tish and Jeff Cameron. And all the guys from War Chant and Tom Block is on our radio station too.
Mhm.
And we have some lifestyle programming with real estate and health and just everything across the board of
Right.
people who live here and
And now
exist
Living
here.
Tallahassee, the
Now
Facebook
Living
page is now
Tallahassee.
a show,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
On the radio.
So that was one of our products as well with Patty Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
So she started that as a real estate group, and it just blew up out of nowhere, and it's become a cool little fun little asset that we partner with as well with the radio station. But yeah, it makes a big difference. Jeff Cameron and Greg Tish, these are all friends of mine through years that I said, hey, you want to come work with me? When we got the opportunity.
Yeah.
ESPN, where Jeff Cameron was, I was actually at a time trying to find a way to buy that radio station. And Jeff knew that because we had talks about it. Like, I think we could work together if we can figure this out.
Yeah.
But my offers weren't quite good enough. And once that station was sold to a non-commercial religious group, it was like, okay, I can drastically change my lineup by taking everything ESPN had that was local and moving it over here. We're talk format. It melds perfectly with my goal, which was to create a variety of content that's local.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we were able to come to an agreement, and Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang came over to my radio station. And I was still just a manager at that point in time. I think that's just pre-COVID when this happened.
Okay.
And those are the two big ones. The first changes I made was Greg Tish in the morning and Jeff Cameron in the afternoon.
Right. Good changes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. So you were president. We talked about when you were the sales manager, and then you were president of the Tallahassee operation.
Mm-hmm.
And then within the last year, a huge shift or opportunity for you.
Well, even before that, COVID.
Okay.
Up until COVID came, I was just running the Tallahassee programming and sales.
Mm-hmm.
And in May and June 2020, right after the height of COVID, the Panama City operation was getting decimated. Tourism's gone. Restaurants are closed. I mean, they were just bleeding away while we were doing quite well here still, because most of our advertisers are essential businesses, home services, roofers, plumbers, things like that still needed presence during that time. So we did.
Some were actually thriving during that time.
Correct. Yeah. So we did quite well instead of a downhill plummet like Panama City saw, just because of the nature of that market.
Mm-hmm.
And the general manager at the time over there, his wife had passed away, not COVID related, just other. And so he moved back home and left town. So then Panama City was left without a manager right after COVID, and the shit's hitting the fan over there. So the owner, Don McCoy, called me and said, hey, I see your numbers in Tallahassee. I don't know what you're doing right, but we're doing it wrong over here. We don't have the money to afford somebody. So you're, again, not qualified for this whatsoever. But I need somebody, and you seem to be doing good, and we work well together. So why don't you come help me over here?
Yeah. What did you think about that?
Well, a little scary. Probably a lot of doubt from other people. Like, who's this guy? I'm now in my 30s, and a 65-year-old guy who's been in radio his whole life now has to report to me. And I've only been in radio for a handful of years.
Yeah.
So a little bit of doubt from people, but when they got to know me and how I operate and my management style, a lot of buy-in from the staff, a lot of support from the staff, and there's a lot of culture changes when I got in order. There's a lot of bad culture before I took over as a manager, just dictator leadership styles, that kind of stuff that I'm the complete opposite of.
Right.
And I think the staff took to that, and we made a lot of changes business-wise. Don McCoy to this day says, if it wasn't for you, we would have been bankrupt. So
all the stations survived?
They survived. They still ran. Everything, we were able to get things back up and running, and then, just took off from there. I enjoyed, and I was, through all the successes, he named me president of the company. Said, you've earned it. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. And, he's getting older, and started backing away a lot more from operations and trusting in me to keep it going for him, and which is what I did until his official retirement recently, where I helped him sell his radio stations, and I bought Tallahassee.
Okay.
And that transaction as well.
Did you ever have on your radar the idea of buying this radio station?
No. The reason I did it was because the people who he was talking to that wanted to buy it were what we don't want, what we've just been talking about. We don't want here, another out of town corporate owner.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see the writing on the wall. Like, if this comes in, I care a lot about the station, Greg Tish, Jeff Cameron, all the people that we've put on, everything that we've created over the years, I've poured myself into, would all be gone. I just had that gut feeling And I was probably right, knowing what they've done to the other stations that they purchased. So I had to step up. Like if I'm going to keep my job and keep the things we love and help my friends and everything that we care about, I got to figure this out. So, me and my wife talked about it a lot, prayed about it a lot, and figured out a way to make it happen. So I matched the other out-of-town offer, and Don McCoy was, nice enough to say, okay, I'll give it to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's your perspective on the whole operation from an ownership standpoint as opposed to a president management standpoint? It's a different set of eyes that you're looking at everything now,
sure.
right?
Yeah. It's a lot more pressure. The livelihood of everybody is completely on me. When things were tough, I could go, hey, Don, we're
right.
Yeah, now that's on me.
Right.
But it's okay. I think I was all that leveling up I did, as president of the company, it was not a typical role. I had my hands in everything. So I knew every part of having to run this business. Like I shouldn't have ever doubted myself. I already knew how to do it all because I had been doing it all successfully for several years.
Wasn't a cram course you had to take.
No, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
No, so actually what I ended up having to do was build an entire radio business from scratch up because I wasn't keeping anything that already existed. So it was a stressful transition at the end of last year, but now we're over that and proudly locally owned, the only locally owned FM radio station in Tallahassee.
And that means a lot to you.
It does. It does. I think it's, FCC isn't exactly handing out licenses for radio stations. It's very hard to become an owner, and many, many people in the industry don't ever get to that point.
Right.
So I think just the path and my tenacity and the hard work I put in and support of some significant people that talked me into it along the way said, you could do this. You got this.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. At the same time, or near the same time, you also launched RealWorks Media, right?
Yep.
So what is the vision for that in taking what you do beyond just the radio studio?
Yeah. At its foundation, we have a radio station. And I think that is a springboard for me to dive into what I care a lot about. Also comes from my music and my music background of creativity and being able to create things for clients. I got into, these days, everybody needs content, right? It's content. And we could use and repurpose so many of the things that we do for our clients into podcasts, into social media, into video, and onto so many different things. It's like, here's my opportunity. I can offer more to the people that are already working with me and then pursue that even further. So now, we do radio. We also do podcasting, editing, and videos, and YouTube channels, and management, and all kinds of just content creation for our clients. I think that's a good direction that we're going right now.
Okay. And it just, expanding a little bit.
Sure.
It makes sense. It seems like a natural expansion of what you're already doing.
Yeah, we're already doing it. So let's take this stuff that we're cranking, like I mentioned, almost 50 hours of local content every week. What else can we do with this? What other things can we do with the tools that we already have? And there's a lot of it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It seems like a very natural thing to do. All right, going to jump into a couple personal things now, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, I've read about, or you've talked about in the past that you and your wife went through some fertility challenges, right, before the birth of your son. So I'd love to get into a little bit, just as kind of encouraging people who might be facing some of the same things.
Yeah.
Can you share some of that journey and what that was like for you guys?
Sure. So when we were younger and my wife was diagnosed with her cancer, we didn't have enough foresight perhaps to think about when we wanted to start our family and how that might look. So we declined a doctor's suggestion of, harvesting before treatment or anything like that. So we didn't even think anything of it. So when it became time for us to want to try to start a family, we realized that was part of the challenge of the treatment that she took. So we ended up starting out first with guidance from doctors, planned conception. What do they call it? I'll say it like this. All of our treatment took place in Jacksonville.
Okay.
So we spent 4 years trying to conceive, driving back and forth to Jacksonville a whole lot. Eventually, after our many rounds of attempts and IVF, even through COVID, which was difficult.
Yeah,
so I wasn't allowed in the room with her when she was getting the treatment. So it was incredibly difficult. But it took 4 years and many, many thousands of dollars and effort and, of course, clawing our way through circumstances yet again in our life to get that, and we lost a couple other opportunities, lost a couple of embryos, which was devastating. We had one left. Well, it was our last shot. And that one is now our beautiful little blessing, Jack.
Wow.
Yeah. He's almost 5 now.
Wow. So how did becoming a father change you?
Oh, gosh. I think like anybody else, it changes your perspective on life significantly. And the reason why you do a lot of things, and you have to think about that constantly. You want to show up for them. You want to provide for them. I want to give him the things that I couldn't have. I want to set him up differently. And that falls into, buying a radio station too, starting my own company, providing for my family. That pressure, it just makes you a better human, I think. Prioritization of things in life change when you have a kid.
Yeah. It's kind of a little miracle baby.
Yeah. And he is not kind of, he most certainly is a miracle in our eyes.
Yeah.
Our last chance. And we can't give him a sibling, so we're going to spoil him to death.
I'm sure he'll survive that.
Yeah, he'll be okay. We have a large family. He's got I think 11 or 12 nieces, cousins, and we have tremendous family support who also live here.
Right.
And,
I can't imagine what that would have felt like after the disappointments to know that it worked with him.
It worked.
And he was gonna be here.
Yep. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right. And then in 2022, you went through a health scare of your own.
Yeah.
Right? You were diagnosed with cancer yourself.
Mm-hmm. Obviously unexpected. I was 37 at the time, and our son was born July 2021, and in April 2022, I got my diagnosis. So he was, here we go again, clawing our way out of situations, if you will. But yeah, I was 37 years old. Colon cancer is not on your radar at that age. So my doctors weren't searching for that. I was pursuing food allergy issues. What is causing my upset stomach? Is it the gluten? Is it the dairy? What are we doing? Eventually, the same doctor that found my wife's cancer said, you know what? We're just going to, I remember this. She says, just like a dermatologist can look at your skin, we're going to take a look. So, go get a colonoscopy. Okay, fine, whatever. And woke up from that, and the doctor saying, hey, we found a tumor. It's cancerous, and you need to consult with a surgeon. I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's not on the radar.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I actually was questioning him, there's no way. Don't you got to wait for test results? He's like, no, I've been doing this a long time. I know what I see. I was like, I don't believe you. But of course, turned out he was right. So in another crazy turn of events, we already had experience with cancer treatment through my wife's diagnosis. And we reached out to her oncologist, who became an important part of our lives. Of course, we grew close to him, and he knew us and our family, and we still maintained communication over the years after her treatment. And he was in Tallahassee, and he eventually moved to Tampa, where he miraculously, or not miraculously, but coincidentally, was one of the leading oncologists in colorectal cancer. And we reached out to him, said, and now I'm looking at how I can navigate this process. And he said, say less. I'm bringing you in. You're now my patient. So he fast-tracked me into Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa and took care of me, and now he's saved us both.
Wow.
He's cured us both. It's amazing.
Wow.
So he's an important person in our lives.
I bet. Yeah, colon cancer is scary.
Yeah. It's taking people down younger and younger.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
It can't be explained.
It used to be an old man's thing, and now it's not.
You don't get screened until you're 55. Now I think it's 45, and I was only 37.
Wow. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I am okay. That is another thing that changes your life, right? Changes what you do with your body and how you treat yourself. And I had surgery to remove the tumor and a good section of my colon, sewed me back together. 50-50 chance that I end up with a colostomy bag or not. That was scary.
Yeah.
Anxiety super high, but amazing doctors, amazing treatment. And I got through that, and we're on the other side of that now.
Great.
Yeah.
Or you've talked about Jessica a lot, and obviously in this whole journey you've been on, but just want to spend a second talking about just you and her and what she means to you and just this partnership you've had through this whole adventurous life you've experienced together.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to when we were 14 years old. So we've had a long road together. We've been married. We got married in 2012. And This year, we will have been dating for 20 years, but we've known each other for 26 years,
Right.
on and off since then. So I mean, I can't imagine my life without her. She's everything. She's the reason for it all. Right?
Yeah.
And I've seen her overcome so many challenges, her cancer treatment, her infertility, and that she's just a strength in the household that I can never compare to.
All right, Jon, looking back in this, we may have just answered this question. What is the one thing or person that has most changed the trajectory of your life to this point?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, my partner, who has helped me make every hard decision, turned me into the person that I am, supported me through all my challenges, always there. Most certainly my wife.
Yeah. It's important to have that confidant in all these big life decisions and business decisions. And,
to have somebody that believes in you the way she believes in me is a great feeling.
Yeah. Right. Final question.
Sure.
The podcast is called How I Got Here, and we've talked about how you got to this point in your life. Where do you think here might be for you in another 3 to 5 years?
Well, no doubt we'll still be here in Tallahassee, where we're going to raise our son, and we want to give him a family style grown up. And 3 to 5 years is not too far. It flies by because we've been through so many things that take that long.
Yeah.
The growth of my business, more travel, more memories. We believe in experiences over things. So I didn't get to travel a lot as a kid. So I hope that giving myself a successful business, hopefully some more freedom to be able to travel and do things and share experiences with my family and get more of that in our life. And hopefully the Seminoles come back.
At least in your son's lifetime.
Yeah. Maybe we win some before he turns 21.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah. We just, we don't take things too seriously. Our experiences have given us the perspective that life is now. Tomorrow isn't now. And we might not have that. So we got to do what we want to do now.
Thanks for listening to the show. To find more great episodes or suggest a guest, visit tallypodcast.com. You can also follow or subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and other major podcast platforms. While you're there, please leave us a rating and a review. Thank you for being part of the How I Got Here community.